Hi, I just wanted to talk about how smart our angels are and to remind you parents that they are very, very smart. They listen to everything you say. They and the other intellectually disabled adults in this country are the most discriminated against, and it makes me very angry because they do understand everything you say, and it's hard to be their voice when no one wants to believe you. Half people believe you that you're right, that they do understand, and the other half of the population is like, you're crazy because they can't talk. So, how the heck do you know what they're thinking? But I'm telling you, from my 4 years or 5 years of just completely being with them one on one all the time, 24/7, 365, I have seen that they do understand everything. They have depression like you and I. They have anxiety like you and I. They have anger, happiness, and the only thing you can't do is reason with them. But they don't understand lying. They think that everything is true. So sometimes it's a good thing, and sometimes it's hilarious. Like if I take them to a play, I've taken them to the Christmas Story play in Cleveland, and they think it's really happening. Like, oh my gosh, this is really happening. Like, this is so fun. Or when we went to Disney World and they're, oh my gosh, like all this stuff is happening. This is really happening. And if you say something sarcastically, they think that's true too. So if you say, thanks for making this big mess, they will clap and be happy thinking you mean that because they don't understand lying. I talk to them like I talk to anyone in my life, just very straightforward, down to earth, and I give them respect and they respect me back. And I will generally kind of give them some kind of idea what their day is going to be like to reduce the anxiety. If there's going to be something different in their schedule, because we do have a very strict regime around here of how we live our life. And if there's something that's going to disrupt it, like if we're going to have a visitor or if we have to go somewhere, I will tell them as soon as I know so they can anticipate it. I will remind them about that. And I give these kind of things to them to make them feel less anxious and more receptive to whatever we're going to be doing. They try to express to me by their iPads and stuff, but nowadays, like I've lived with them long enough that some things I just get cues. I just get cues from living with them, knowing what they exactly want. Like this morning, my daughter is showing me her foot, and I just look and I see that it's her sock that needs to be adjusted. And so I know that. And I know my sons have particular uh, ways of how they like things. For instance, my son, Ryan, he has to have a certain way of eating his dinner. Like the blinds have to be shut, and he has to have a napkin, he has to have a glass of water. Everything has to be in place. He's super hypersensitive of his surroundings. And Drew's the same way. He wants to make sure at dinner time, like all the devices are put away, the TV's turned off, and he just has to sit next to Ashley. There's just has to be a certain order. My daughters are not like that. They're more like they go with the flow and are more easygoing, but they all have like the same sibling rivalry that any family that has more than one sibling would have. So my kids do fight with each other, and get angry with each other. It's kind of hilarious listening to my boys because since they can't talk, they'll just grunt at one another like cavemen. And girls, they're more of like pinching or hitting each other, but the girls also love each other. They are very cuddly together. They like to sleep real close to each other. The boys, however, they're like oil and water. They just don't want it to have anything to do with the other. The only time they all come together and love each other and show affection, no matter what, including the boys, is if anyone's having a seizure. If anyone's having a seizure, they immediately feel empathy for their sibling and will do whatever they can to try to make them feel comfortable, show them love and affection and whatnot. They do have ways of showing me that they're not happy with something. Most of the time, they show like an anxiety moment where it looks like they're about to have a seizure because they hold themselves real closely, like their arms or their hands, and because I feel like they have a sense like it's coming on. The only one that doesn't have a seizure at all is Drew, but the other three, I noticed with all three of them, if they feel like it's coming on because they're anxious or stressed out about something, they kind of hold their hand real close to their body. And if I don't address the situation or I'm aware of whatever, they will go into seizure. But it could be anything. My daughter will have a fear of her brother coming from behind her and like giving her a whap. And so she just has that anxious feeling if he's nearby. And so I have to like make sure that he is somewhere else, and I'll reassure that he's so and so place or he's here and you don't have to worry about it. Clothing, getting them dressed. They have a hard time with some of the little small things, like if it's a narrow sleeve or buttons, I will have to help them with that because it makes them stressed out trying to figure out these like little details of their clothing. They watch videos and they can learn real quickly from videos of what causes what and how to do things. So I've caught my son smuggling like paper clips or whatever into his room to try to do the lock and unlock himself. He'll like hide it under his pillow. They're very sneaky. They know when I'm not around and they will jump on the opportunity immediately if they know I'm not around, and they will kind of just do crazy stuff. Like if I have something that they know I hide somewhere, they'll go and look in all my hiding places to see if they could find food, for instance, or anything they're not supposed to have. They will seize the opportunity as soon as I leave the room to go look. And they all tattle on one another too. If somebody did something, like if somebody threw something off the table, for instance, and I say, "Who did that?" They all point to the person that did it. And it's hilarious because they don't know how to lie either. Like lying is just something is a concept that they don't understand. And so I have that working for me. But I just wanted to share some of the things that I've learned living with these kids. It makes me sad seeing people that don't really treat them as humans. They are just like you and me. They just don't have a voice. And they need to start being around other people, and other people need to be around people with disabilities, because we're now living in an era of acceptance, and you hear it everywhere, like, accept all the different genres and all this other stuff. But one thing that is not expressed enough is to be with people that are disabled, especially the intellectually disabled. They are so dismissed as not being people, that they're not humans like you and I, and they do understand. And it's just sad seeing society not giving them that kind of respect that you and I get. Everyone should get respected out and about anywhere, and they need to be talked to like you and I, and they need to just be socialized like you and I more. I think we need to have more of that in this country, where the disabled are more integrated with the regular society and not be shut out from society and out of sight and out of mind. But that's my little thing for today. Thanks for watching.